I am from beyond. Listen, and all you desire will be yours. Welcome to Spider-Dan and the Secret Balls. Prepare for Prattle.
Spider Knight?
Alas, friend Spider-Man, by what sorcery doth small sealing torch shine forth?
It's called a light bulb.
Welcome to Prattle World. I am your host, the ever-amazing, ever-spectacular Spider-Dan, and in this podcast, I spotlight entertainment's best-kept secrets that a mainstream audience may find boring. Welcome back, guys, and welcome to the first ever edition of Spider Knights of the Round Table, where I get guests on and we have a round table discussion. There's only one guest, and the table is more of a rectangle, I will be honest. So it's not entirely correct for the title, but we just kind of discuss things in length. So I have Dennis Whittle here with me today. Welcome, Dennis.
Hello.
Hello, very fancy.
Well, I'm trying to put my takeaway voice on.
Fancy takeaway voice. Hello, yes.
Hello, how are
I'll have
you?
a chicken kebab, please. Welcome to the show. This is your first time on the show. I'd just like to thank you for coming on, first of all.
Well, thank you for having me.
And you've got a very sexy takeaway voice, I have to say. I love it. I'm a little aroused myself.
I can tell.
You stop it with those dirty eyes. So
See, I could go way. Wind it in.
Wind it in. Control yourself. No, so I've brought Dennis on today because we've got a few big events coming up in the comic book world, and I wanted to discuss comics in general, and both of our kind of life and experience with comics and growing up and loving them, and where they've got to now, and the heights of the MCU, Avengers Endgame, which we both seen, but we will not be talking about or spoiling within this podcast.
Yes, okay.
It's hard to do. Spoilers. We both really enjoyed it.
Very much so.
Very much so. So first of all, we were talking about these big events. So first off, the first thing that's coming up is Free Comic Book Day.
It is on the 4th of May.
4th of May.
Is that
So
a week on Saturday?
That's correct.
Yeah.
So this is we're recording this on Friday.
Friday. Yes.
So next Saturday, that's 4th. So May the 4th be with you. It's also
It is,
Star Wars
yeah,
Day as
yeah.
well. Weirdly, two very geeky holidays on one day. Incredible.
It is stunning.
And you're gonna
Amazing and stunning, yes.
spectacular, amazing, incredible,
Kapow!
fantastic. So you're gonna host Free Comic Book Day
Yes.
at your store, the
I am.
Comic Den. Do you want to tell
Comic
us a little
Den.
bit about that?
Yes, I have a little store in Oldham, little comic book store, and we sell comics and action figures and graphic novels and people. No, we don't sell people.
You don't sell people.
No.
Yeah, I hope you don't sell people.
No.
That's a different business.
Yeah, we
You do have a basement, so
we
there
do.
might be
We
some
do
sort of
gaming in the basement.
You do
as well.
yes,
We
because
do.
you've now cleared out the basement. So no,
Sort
still-
of, yeah. We clear it and then I fill it full of boxes and then we clear it.
and clear. Well,
And then-
it's a work in progress.
Yes,
it's a work in progress. People play like Pokemon down there.
do,
and,
yes, yeah.
kind of Dungeons and Dragons, that type of thing. So that's
Yeah.
cool. So you've got like it's a kind of a multi-entertainment venue almost.
Yeah, it kind of. I think comic book shops have lost the what they used to be about. I think when I was growing up, we used to go to Odyssey 7.
Okay.
We used to buy our books in the morning, and then we spent all afternoon talking about them. And it was we hung around pretty much all day, either in the comic book shop, just outside the comic book shop, or at the cafe next door to the comic book shop.
Wow.
So my life revolved around the comic book shop. All my friends' lives revolved around the comic book shop. And when I went to New York about 3.5 years ago, the shops over there are very similar in the case
Yeah.
of that people go there.
It's a social activity.
Yeah, and everybody knows everybody. Even the big like Midtown Comics, you go to the downtown store, everybody knows everybody. So you go in there and everyone's talking about the new books, they're talking to the staff, and there's a bit of community about it.
Yeah.
And I look at some of the stores in the UK and it's very much like Asda with comics. You go in, it's ding, off you pop.
Yeah.
And no one talks comics. So you go in, you ask them a question, they look at you as though you've just said, I'm going to kill your nan.
Yeah.
And they can't answer the question.
No.
Or they can't even remotely answer the question.
No, they have no idea.
No, because it's just a job.
Yeah. Well, that's
So,
all it is. It's
yeah.
not a passion.
No. And I wanted to put my passion onto other people.
Sounds
you know?
like you were very lucky as a youngster, because I went to comic book shops and I'd spend hours there. there, and I would talk to the people that work there, it was kind of like... I think it's still like that today. In some shops, it's like Smorg the Dragon with all the treasure. And I've got all the knowledge, and no one else can have it. It's like a dungeon. It's dingy. It's dark. It's not environmentally friendly. Kind of, you don't go in there and think, I want to spend loads of time in here. I want to spend all day here. Like I had nobody I knew was into comics really. Like a couple of my friends, I interested them a little bit, but they grew out of it very quick. But it stayed with me for the rest of my life. But it sounds like you had a great experience. And
my next door neighbour gave me a box of comics when I was about 7, and they were all Marvel, and they were all from probably the 70s, a few 60s.
Good era.
Yeah, and it was a big box. Hulk, a lot of Spider-Man, some Punisher, a couple of Silver Surfer, Submariner was in there.
Nice.
And he just said, "There you go, read them." And I was like, "It's not a very good reader."
No,
looking
fair
through,
enough. Yeah.
Pictures, and kind of took away into those places. And then it kind of grew after watching Superman the movie.
Yes.
And then Christopher Reeve kind of appeared, and it was like, oh my god, this is like it's just amazing.
It's magic. It's magic. Yeah.
And
still is to this day.
No,
still is.
I watched it the other day, and I got a bit teary eyed.
Yeah.
It really touches you.
I saw it the other week with my friend DL Keatis, who's on @DL Keatis on Twitter, or Dan Keatis. We saw it on the big screen, and Jeff East, who plays the teenage Clark Kent, was there and answered a few questions, which is really, really cool.
Yeah, so seeing that, and then having my parents are quite lefty, quite liberal.
Okay.
And they kind of encouraged me to read and draw and write and do all those sort of things. And then as I kind of went to different school, I met friends who were kind of like geeks.
Yeah.
But like not geeks today.
No.
Geeks back then, they'd be wear a Batman t-shirt, get beaten up geeks.
Yes.
Now it's more, it's acceptable. But
yes.
there was me and my friend called Mark.
It was not like when I was a kid, it still wasn't acceptable.
And we were the only on uniform day. We were the only kids with a Batman t, and it was just literally just the logo, no designs or anything. Yeah. And we, so you just go to this little shop, which is Odyssey 7, which is now Forbidden Planet.
Yes.
Spit in their face.
Go to the comic den instead.
Yes. Yes, come to us. We're cheap. Anyway. But it was, our Saturdays revolved around the comic book shop, and there was a few other little shops we went into, which sold second-hand books and older books. And that was basically, I kind of got addicted. I bought my first comic when I was 10. It was a Batman comic.
Yeah. Do you remember it? Do you remember what issue? Or
431.
431.
Yeah, it's 1988, I think it was. Okay. And it was Batman.
The year of my birth.
Oh, bless you, bless your little cotton drawers. I never read any DC.
Okay.
My early comics was all Marvel.
All Marvel, yeah.
Which is really weird. I explain that later.
Yeah.
But it was all Marvel. And then I saw this cover of Batman. He's basically hung up upside a tree, like a bat.
Okay, like upside down.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, I like that cover.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Bought that. I thought, oh, I quite like this. And then a few months, there was another one, Todd McFarlane cover.
Yeah.
He's got Vicky Vale, and there's a big cape.
I tell you what, I got a digital version of that collection of it. So there's some Jim Starlin stuff in there as well. Yes, really good.
Yeah. So, and I thought, oh, I like that cover. So I started reading Batman, and then from that, read some Superman, and then from that, Teen Titans, from that, other various things, and then my kind of love for DC Comics.
Wow.
Came out of that.
I think the first ever proper American comic book I got was, I think it was Panini, did a lot of reprints. And Wolverine Unleashed was one back in the early 90s. And it was kind of just reprints of his stories. And there was an Alan Davis one, I think it was Blood Rage or Blood Hungry or Blood something.
There was blood in the title.
It was the 90s.
Yes,
you put blood in everything. Yeah. It's very popular. blood was very, very in right then. And so and it was like, I think Wolverine kills a guy in it, but because he's mind controlled or something. But I remember I think the first one I ever got was an X-Men one, because I got into comics through the X-Men, the animated series, which is... And it's a classic. I still watch it to this day. I love it. It captures the essence of those characters. And luckily for me, it translated very easily into their current comic book form. And they were going through a storyline called Executioner's Song, spelled with just an X, obviously.
Very 90s Marvel.
Very branding, very on branding.
Very good, yeah.
But yeah, it was about Cable and his clone and various other things. It was a pretty cool story, actually. It's really good. But that was my first one. I remember Apocalypse is in it. He's weak and he's melting. His body's melting because he's come out of his hibernation chamber too early, or his rejuvenation chamber too early, so he's all like weird, and he doesn't look as strong or as powerful as he usually does, which I found really interesting the way it was drawn. But that was probably my first comic. But yeah, I did get a Batman one, and it was a really weird cover, and it was Scarface, the ventriloquist Scarface, and it was kind of like a claymation cover of Scarface, and it was like a batarang through his head, and the doll was broken. Again, can't remember the issue, but I do remember that being probably my first DC one. But there was like loads of other kind of UK reprints I would get, because they had a cardboard cover as well, so they were a bit more durable.
The DC ones were bigger, weren't they?
And they were a bit more stuff. So they're a bit more durable than the floppy ones. But, But from there I basically haven't stopped. I think. Actually, I did stop in my teenage years because I thought it was too cool for school.
Yeah, I see. I'm one of those enigmas. I love comics, but I also like football and cricket. So I
don't like those things.
I like both of them.
I like women, and I was thinking that maybe if I liked comics less and liked women more, that I like women very much. Not that I don't like women, but I thought I could get them if I didn't read as much comics. Or have as many.
And how did that work out for you?
Not so great.
No. Okay.
Kind of regret the time I didn't spend doing the things that I liked.
Yeah.
So, truth is, stick to what you love, and that will do. Probably.
Hopefully. That was like a public announcement, isn't it?
Yes.
Like public service announcement.
By the way, I'm fine.
Yeah. Anybody want to call on that?
Yes. Come into this 1-bedroom flat full of geeky paraphernalia.
I would.
Yeah, I know you would.
But you see, when I was buying comics, there wasn't a direct market.
Of course, yeah.
So you could buy them from shops.
Yeah, just newsagents.
Yeah, they used to come out a little bit later, and they used to be really cheap. So we used to buy stacks of them. And
are these the Americans, or would they be
UK
the American
reprints? Stuff? And there was a shop in Rochdale on somewhere called The Walk. Sounds sinister.
The Long Walk.
It's just a path.
Okay.
And then it changed its name to Oriental Walk.
Oh, right.
I don't know why. There was nothing Oriental about it.
Yeah, I mean...
There was no Chinese food.
Nothing. It wasn't like Chinatown or something like that.
No.
Just all of a sudden, just wanted...
Yeah. Anyway.
I mean, it sounds nice. It sounds nice.
Maybe that's what it's going. But there used to be a shop on the corner, and they used to bag like 10 comics.
Ooh.
And there used to be £1. So
can you imagine that?
My dad used to go to the cinema.
Back in my day, 10 comics were £1.
Yeah, so we used to go to the cinema, the Canon cinema.
Okay.
And then used to get my pack of comics, and then my brother used to treat me as a slave for his paper round. And as part of that, he used to buy me the He-Man comic.
Nice.
So I used to run around. He used to time me.
Right.
And if I didn't do it in the time, I wouldn't get the comic.
That's a
He's
strange.
A bastard. Anyway,
like a time trial.
Yeah. So, but he knew I wanted the comic.
Yeah.
So I would run and post his newspapers on a Sunday for him, and I used to get the He-Man comic. So He-Man was the only kind of the big kind of comic I used to get. I just used to get All Americans so I never used to buy 2000 AD.
Yeah.
I used to buy the little Commando comics.
Yeah.
The war stuff, and I used to I like the artwork in them more than the stories.
I got the odd 2000 AD when I was a kid.
Yeah. I liked the artwork in the Commando and Eagle. I used to get the Eagle because I used to like the free gift.
Dan Dare was in the Eagle.
Yeah, Dan Dare and stuff, and then went to a funny little stage of kind of Centurions. We used to stand there and things.
Oh, the toys, they were good. I like them.
And then Action Force, the Action Force comic, which was G.I. Joe.
G.I. Joe, yeah.
But it was because they were cheap and people knew they used to buy me them. Yeah. But it was always the American stuff.
Yeah. It's a nice gift, though. It's a nice gift.
Yeah, the He-Man comics were great. I can't remember anything about them apart from the fact the covers were magnificent.
Gorgeous.
And you used to get a lollipop.
Oh, bless me.
Bless you.
Sorry, carry on.
You used to get a lollipop on them, or occasionally a Wamba.
I used to have that there was a very kiddie Spider-Man comic, and there would always be something on the cover, but I would always damage the cover by taking the thing off.
Yeah.
Which really annoyed me.
I know.
That's what I hate about like stickers and sellotape and stuff on books.
Yeah.
It drives me nuts.
And we used to go to a lot of, as I was getting older, kind of like teens, I discovered comic markets. And they were like just amazing. You could go with a tenner and come back with like a bag full of comics. And I remember seeing Batman #1 there. The first appearance of Hulk #1s and stuff, and they were like 250 quid and stuff.
Nothing now.
I was like, oh, look at that,
now they're astronomical prices.
Yeah. So, but I've got I'm good with.
No, you've got quite. You showed when I went around to your house. You showed me
Yeah.
quite a few kind of rare ones. I think you showed me the first appearance of Deathstroke and a few other things like that.
I've got lots of first appearances. I went through a first appearance stage.
Did you?
Yeah.
Just got more. Well, they're the most. Are they the most like financially?
Yeah.
You know,
or events.
valuable.
Kind of big event books as well.
Okay.
Which have now become a bit silly.
Yeah, they're every year now instead of every 10.
Secret Secret Wars was.
Yeah, I love a bit of Secret Wars.
Just to sell toys as well.
I know, but it was a good story. It was a good story. It was well written.
Yeah.
and good artwork.
So I my comic education has always been American. Really,
American.
I've not. Sounds awful because I have a lot of 2000 AD guests.
Yeah,
and I love you all. But I've never really been into Judge Dredd or anything like that.
I've tried Judge Dredd a couple of times. I do appreciate the character and some of the stories.
I like the artwork.
Yeah.
I like Judge Death. I like the way he looks and stuff. I like
Judge Fire and Mortis and all that.
I think visually it's really good. I've just never really...
I remember getting like the thing with when I was a kid, like it was in the 90s, so a lot of the comics were quite extreme. Like I remember getting like a 2000 AD and it was like a Simon Bisley. It was just like a wall-to-wall fight with Judge Dredd and Mean Machine, and it was super violent and aggressive and stuff. And one, I know the book that cemented my love for comic books was Daredevil, Man Without Fear, Frank Miller, John Romita Jr., which I got John Romita Jr. to sign when I went to see him in London Super Comic Con, he was a lovely guy, and he said, "This is my finest work," and I was like, "Yes, I brought the right one."
So you go,
Yeah. No, it's definitely the right one. But he wasn't doing any sketches or anything, just signings. But I had got it. I went to Toys R Us, and they sold packs of comics, not unlike the ones you were describing. But usually it was just random comics thrown together. I think it was I think one I got was like Hands of the Mandarin, or the prequel to Hands of the Mandarin, which is a 90s crossover, Iron Man crossover, which just has War Machine and Iron Man having a great fight. It's brilliant. And the Man Without Fear was in there, the whole story. And again, they had these cardboard covers, and they were embossed as well.
Yeah.
So you could feel like the texture and stuff, which I thought was a cool thing because he was blind. But again, I was like 6, 7. That is not a book a 6 or 7-year-old should be reading. Heavily violent, brutal, sex, everything. However, it was kind of like it sounds bad, but it was kind of like almost like, I guess, porn or something. You know, like you're hiding it. You're like, this is a secret. I don't think I should be reading this. I shouldn't have access to these sort of things. But I like it. I want to read more. I want to see more. And I've read that book millions of times. I think I've got 2 or 3 copies of it now.
Well, it's kind of like the explosion of all the British talent in America. Yes. They all came from 2000 AD.
Yeah.
The Americans like what they're doing, bring them all over, and they kind of brought a British style to stuff.
I think they call it the British invasion, did they? Or English invasion?
A British kind of hardcore. Because most of the writers and people who went over were all kind of working class people, so they went over and kind of, that was the showing. It's all almost like metal, you know. Heavy metal was kind of working class, and a lot of the comic writers, a lot of kind of 2000 AD, from what I can gather, were very similar.
Well, I mean, for me, I think for you as well, that these guys are the rock stars of comic books. You know,
Yeah, when you talk about them, you talk about my guests and people I've met and this that, and the other. I talk about them as all the like big movie stars. Because to me they are.
They are.
They're very much. People say, "Oh, have you got coming to your con?" So I'll go through a little list. And
actually, I don't think we mentioned that you are the founder of Oldham Comic Con.
Yes, I am. Yes.
Tell us a bit about that.
How much is a bit?
Tell us everything about it.
Okay, basically, Oldham Comic Con came out of my daughter's head. We left a so-called comic convention. Mm-hmm. I say so-called because they had no comics and they had no.
I don't like that.
And they had nothing to do with comics at all, just by name. Anyway, we left that, and she basically said that was rubbish. I said it was rubbish, and she says, "You know what? I bet you could do better, and I dare you to."
Wow.
So I went, okay, you're 10. Do I want to let a 10-year-old down? We'll have a go. Again, I keep going about the past.
Yeah.
Because I think we need to. I think come on. I'll probably talk about it, the modern stuff a bit later on. But I think there's too many cons. There's too many, and we've lost what a Comic Con is.
Yeah.
Which is about comics.
Exactly.
It's about people who like comics meeting the people who have wrote their books, and and about reading and about the art and about the kind of publishing stuff. So when I was thinking about how I could do it, let's look at the reading side of it. Let's look at the art side of it. Let's not look at people who have maybe played these characters on the TV.
Yeah.
Oh, let's look at what the source material is. Because I think, a lot of cons these days...
It's about the TV stars, it's about the movie stars.
ignore the source material. I love the source material. Have I mentioned that?
I have, and well, you have, and I have as well, because we
Yeah.
both love. I'm more of a Marvel guy. I think you're more of a DC guy.
I'm more of a DC,
I'm more of a Marvel guy, but I do appreciate DC, and I'm sure you appreciate Marvel as well.
Old Marvel.
Old Marvel, yeah. Well, again, I don't read a lot of new Marvel, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm all about the classics. I always have been like this. This podcast is about underrated, and forms of entertainment, be it comic books, movies, movies you've never seen, all that sort of stuff. And I want to know why people haven't seen it, or why we don't talk about it, and things like that.
And that's what kind of came out of the con, was people, surprisingly, some people didn't know that there was a Captain America comic anymore.
That makes me very sad.
And when I went to pitch it to the library, we did it the first two at Oldham Library.
Yeah.
Because there's a connection between reading and libraries, and I wanted that to be very, very at the forefront of why we're doing it. And also, literacy levels are dropping with children, and there's lots of research about comics, especially in the States, and Lancaster University are doing a lot of research about how comics can improve reading ages, how they can help with insomnia, how they can help with mental health, this, that. And so it was, to me, it's the whole kind of, it's cemented in, we love comics for the artwork and reading.
Yeah.
We don't love comics all the time because of the movies, because to be honest, when I was growing up, there was very little. There wasn't the TV shows. We had the Hulk and Spider-Man.
Yeah, and some of them weren't as good or as well received as we would have liked them.
No, exactly. And
that's why we had to cherry pick. When the movies did come out, we were like, well, that was okay. I like those bits, but we got it every 5 years or something.
Yeah, so you kind of accepted the frailties of it. So we did the first one. And the other big thing about it is it's completely free.
Did you hear that, everyone?
Yeah.
This year, Oldham Comic Con and every other year has been free.
Yeah, it's free because one of our biggest things is comics are for everybody and cons are for everybody.
Yes.
If you charge 35 quid, 15 quid, 7 quid, whatever to get in, that's then 7 quid less you've got to spend on comics and on the reading materials.
That's right. Yeah.
And also, if you've got a family of 4 and you've never been to a con before, it's a risk. It's a lot of money to kind of put out there, and with not real kind of understanding what's going on in them. So having it free means it's completely accessible to everybody.
All walks of life.
Yeah, everybody. Doesn't matter what budget you've got, doesn't matter anything. It's
how many kids you've got.
Is 100% accessible. And as part of it as well, we give away free comics, we give away free action figures, we give away free artwork, we give away loads of free stuff. Because again, it's for everybody.
Yeah.
It's not okay. And I think a lot of cons, and I'm not going to slag cons off, because I think there's unfortunately a market for everybody.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of them become a bit eyebrow.
Yeah.
And a bit kind of elitist. I went to a certain very, very big con last year, and they were selling prints for 200 quid. And it cost you 35 quid to get in. And you're thinking, what am I getting for this?
Yeah.
Would you pay to go into Asda? Would you pay 35 quid to do your weekly shop? No, you wouldn't.
No.
So making it free means that everybody can go. Now, there's a lot of skepticism about it, because people think, oh, free, it's going to be crap.
No, it's not the case.
No, and this year especially, people have kind of looked upon it, and with the sort of calibre of guests we're getting, we've got first timers to the UK, and like last year we had Carlos.
Yes.
Which was his last ever appearance at any con. So I think we're slowly building that.
So for people who don't know who Carlos is,
he created Judge Dredd with John Wagner. He's the artist. John Wagner does the words. And it was his last. Unfortunately, he died
not long after. Yeah.
And he was great, and we had some Batman artists there and some.
You had queues around I saw queues around the corner.
Yeah.
I was there. I wasn't there. I think I was there for a good few hours, but there was queues all day, just queues to John Wagner and Carlos.
But unfortunately, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, we've outgrown the library. Because we had 6,500 people came last year for one day.
That's incredible.
And a lot of that is because it's free.
Yeah.
So you do get people wandering in. You do get people.
But you get what's also cool is that there's people in the library just there to use the library, and they get pulled in because they're like, "What is this? What's going on? Why are they dressed like this? Who's this? And why is there such a big queue? And who's that talking over there?" It's and they get engrossed in it because it's this big, huge family event. It's not some ugly gatekeeper that lives in the basement of their mother's, like going, you don't know about comics.
And it's also we have, it's like this year's theme. We have a theme every year.
Okay.
This year's theme is be kind to each other, be nice to each other.
Yeah.
Which I think is a very simple thing to do.
Yeah.
But I think it's really important. And part of that is having accessible people, comics. We've got black creators, we've got Chinese creators, we've got gay creators, we've got transsexual creators. We've got creators who've not started work until, writing for comics until they're a lot older. We've got brand new people coming in. We have such a kind of
It's a wide breadth.
yeah,
of people,
lots of female
talent.
creators because look up and down the country, big cons don't have many female creators.
No.
So I made it my mission to make sure that we have female creators. I want people for my daughter to be inspired, and she does. She's been around cons now forever. She a comic collection is getting really good. She reads all the time. She writes all the time.
Yeah.
And
It's so nice to see someone so young, so passionate about these characters.
She had no choice because if she decided to read comics, I would have probably given her away. So
You'll give your child away, just not the comics.
No, wife and child, comics stay. But it's all about accessibility and trying to break down barriers. Money's a barrier.
Yeah,
No matter what
huge
anyone
barrier.
says, money's a barrier. And one of the things we do, and I'm not blowing my own trumpet because I don't think I'm doing anything particularly special.
No.
But we buy everyone's books. So everybody who attends, we buy at least one book from every single person.
Yeah.
And we give them away. We give them to libraries. We give them to schools.
Yeah.
Because then, even if you can't afford to buy anything from, you might turn up and you just buy a trinket off a stall, a couple of quid.
Yeah.
But you want to buy the books, but you can't because you bought the trinket.
Yeah.
You can now go to the library and hire that, get that book out, take that book home.
And there's exactly. If you become I remember, I think the first year I was actually one of the library members. I was kind of helping out with Mike Chandler's cosplay Companions Guild stand. He had a kind of a table, and that's kind of how I got involved with Oldham Comic Con and yourself and everything. And I was helping. A library lady came up to me and was like, "Can you give out these and help people join the library?" I was like, "Yeah, of course. What a great idea! What a fantastic idea!" And I was like, "Yeah." And
well, on the Monday they had no graphic novels left in the library. Every graphic novel had gone.
So they've been taken out.
Yeah. During the day, people were taking the books out. And this year, as an added bonus, we've got bigger sponsors.
Nice.
And no one knows this. One person knows.
Oh, is this exclusive?
Yeah. We've got Diamond Publications.
Wow.
They're sponsoring us.
Really?
Yeah, we've got Zenoscope. They're sponsoring us, and Dynamite Entertainment are sponsoring us.
Really?
Yes.
Wow, those are huge.
Yeah, so they're basically Diamond are giving us lots of stuff to auction off and give away. They're also going to match if we buy 1,000 books, they're going to give us 1,000 books.
That's incredible.
Zenoscope are giving us exclusive.
Why is Oldham Comic Con not tomorrow?
Zenoscope are giving us exclusive prints and comics covers, which you can't get anywhere else apart from us. And then Dynamite Entertainment are giving us exclusive covers for Amy Chu to sign.
Incredible,
This is her first ever UK appearance. She does the Kiss comics. She does Red Sonja. She's done Poison Ivy for DC. She's done Wonder Woman for DC.
There's so much exclusivity going on.
Yeah.
And this is a free event.
Yeah, completely
This
free.
is absolutely
and it is
free.
All the panels, all the workshops, everything. There's no charge for anything.
No.
Obviously, limits space for panels and things.
So things will be ticketed on the day.
Yeah, but it's free.
But that is free.
Yeah.
So guys, get in early if you're going to be there. What date is Oldham Comic Con?
11th of May.
11th of May.
Yeah, 11th of May.
So guys, it's like I'm already there.
Yeah,
I'm already there.
Yeah, but it's for comic lovers, but it's for people. We've aimed it very much at, you got the first time people, people are just wondering, not sure. But we've got like Keith Williams, who has worked, and people who's Keith Williams. Well, he's worked on every single major title ever. He also edited Spider-Man for 9 months, Web of Spider-Man and Peter Parker Spider-Man.
I've got the Web of Spider-Man #1 with the Charles Vess cover of him on the church.
He worked on the John Byrne Superman. He did the intro for that.
Nice.
Did Phantom, X-Men, did loads of X-Men stuff.
Nice.
So he's never been to the UK.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. So again, like first time, the exclusivity.
I had lunch with him in
it's
New York.
free. Oh my God. I met you briefly during that first Oldham Comic Con. I was like I think I was Karnak. I think I was doing a Karnak cosplay, which was not well, it was all right. It was not too bad, that one. I quite like that one. But I got to know you more through the Jack Kirby event.
Yeah.
So you're it's Glenn Williams. Is it?
Glenn.
Yeah. Oh, it's Glenn. No, not.
Don't know.
It's Glenn. It's Glenn.
It's Glenn.
Glenn.
He called me a really rude name at
Oh dear.
Comic-Con last year.
Oh really?
Yeah. Called me a C name.
Oh dear. A comic book lover. You comic book lover, you.
I know. I was very stressed. I was very annoyed. Because we had some technical issues.
Yeah, something going on.
And he was being a bit rude.
Dear.
And I said something to him.
Well,
but I like you.
Yeah,
Glenn.
I like Glenn as well. I like Glenn. But he met Jack Kirby a few years back when Jack was still alive. If you don't know who Jack Kirby is, go out and Google Jack Kirby straight away. because you should know who he is, and you should have a lot of reverence for the work he's done and the characters he's created and the movies that you love right now, all done for Jack. Marvel and DC. You know, if you're not, you know, even TV shows were not so well received. Yes, I'm looking at you, Inhumans. You know, he had a hand in everything. But yeah, so Glenn met him in his youth and made some home videos and talked to him, asked him about comics, was shown around his studio. He was a very lovely, lovely, sweet man. And he made a kind of documentary, a short documentary out of it. And there was a premiere, and Michael asked me, "Do you want to come see a Jack Kirby documentary?" I was like, "What? Yeah." And we went. We did. Me and Mike dressed up as the Etrigan the Demon, and I went as the Puppet Master from the Fantastic Four, as creepy as possible. I went, what character can I do?
You weren't creepy at all.
No. Oh, I am a little bit. But we had some photos done for the paper and various other things. I've talked to you about that. And then we got to know each other a bit more. And then Tim Perkins and various other people who spoke at the event about them. And I think there was one at one of the conventions as well, maybe a talk about Jack, possibly. Can't remember. But then you guys kind of invited me to dinner, which I was like, oh my God, yes. I want to come to dinner with all these cool guys and talk about Jack Kirby. Yes.
Did you get the Dark Side print as well?
I did get a Dark Side print. Yeah. I've got it. It's in my wardrobe. I'm just finding the right space and frame for it. But eventually I'll get that up. But gorgeous. Thank you very much for Tim Perkins giving me that, because I did not expect that. And those were going. I think those were going at the convention or the premiere of Jack Kirby. Like, I don't know how much.
I can't remember either.
Yeah, but they were going for quite a bit of money, maybe £40 or something. And he gave it me for free. And they were so pleased to talk to, like, Glenn and Tim were so pleased to talk to me, because they were like, you know, you're so young and you know everything, and you know all the 70s, 80s, you know about the New Gods and all these kind of weird and wacky characters like the Mad Thinker and Puppet Master and things like that people my age probably wouldn't know, or younger people wouldn't know. And that made me feel really good and really special. And I think that we all kind of connected through our love of Jack and his work, and, you know, still do, can talk about it, you know. Not a day goes by that I don't think about Jack in some form or think about a character he's created, and it was amazing. And then I think our friendships blossomed from there. And
we're friends.
Last time I checked,
just Jay, I'm doing
do you want to be more?
Well, I can see a bed.
There is a bed. There is a bed in this room.
And that's all comes from the con. And all comes from kind of my vision of how events should be done. You should be allowed to speak to the people you want to speak to.
Yes.
You should be allowed to geek out and no one judge you about it. You should be able to meet these awesome guys, because, you know, a good 90% of them are fab and they want to talk to you about characters.
They
want to
are
talk to you about
lovely, lovely people.
Yeah, people who influence them. So, you know, my con's very informal. You know, I want people to go. Like when I was talking to Amy Chu about it. And she took very little convincing to come, and she was just saying it sounds perfect. Because they're not, even in the States these days,
don't really have comic conventions.
No, there is a bit of a change coming.
Yeah, I think there needs to be.
I think similar to this country. I think
if the comic book industry is to survive, it needs we need to do something about it.
Is it New York or San Diego have said they're going to give like 70% of floor space over to comics next year. This year, next year. I don't know what year it is.
It's 2019 this year.
There we go. It's not. Yeah. So they're doing more stuff, and you got like Big Apple Con, which is very comic orientated and stuff. So
I really enjoyed going to London Super Comic Con. I know that no longer is a thing, but that was purely comics, and I love that for me.
We also have a no charging for signatures policy. So I'm playing footsie there.
hello there.
Well, so we don't want charge for signatures.
No.
That's another biggie of mine. You know, is that we don't want people to turn up and you can sign that for £15. We bought the book.
I think I saw Neil Adams at I think it was London Super, and his signatures were about £50+, maybe more. Yeah. And I was like, I love Neil Adams. Great work, great artist. Probably a bit, you know, he's an interesting character, to say the least. But you said, money is a barrier.
You know, me and Neil on first names, don't you?
First name basis.
Yeah.
Good.
We got a lot. No, seriously.
We're not gonna. I don't. He's a nice guy. I didn't mean anything.
No, I'm saying. We met him in New York.
Yeah.
We went to his gallery and lingered and talked and stuff, and he did. He did a picture for me and signed stuff and didn't charge me anything.
There you go. I think, and again, I don't think that's necessarily Neil's.
I think no. Neil's a businessman.
Yeah, exactly.
And he knows he's got a worth.
Yeah, sure.
And that's great. And I like.
Yeah.
I'm.
At least he's honest about it.
And I'm looking.
You're looking to get
yes,
Neil.
Yeah.
That would be a huge pull. I mean, that would be a huge win. Like he's the man that redefined Batman.
Yeah. Well, he's my
kind of guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He can be a bit grumpy sometimes.
Who can't?
But I have a lot of time for the guy, and I think he's done a lot for comic books. He's done not just what he's done from drawing them, but he also campaigned for people to get the rights to things,
rights to characters.
Yeah, like Joey Siegel and
Bill Finger.
Yeah, Bill Finger and he's the Kirby stuff. He had a hand in that as well. He's done a lot. Almost like a union guy.
So there's not a lot of people might know about the rights of characters and the co-creation, the effect of the co-creation. Because bless Stanley, he's gone, he's no longer with us, and I was a big fan. He's not known again. He's a businessman.
I think Marvel needed Stan Lee.
Yeah,
I think I'm not a big Stan Lee fan.
That's fair.
Which is as a comic fan, people go, why are you not a big?
Yeah.
Because I feel he took a lot away from Jack. And Ditko.
Yeah, Ditko.
Ditko.
So Kirby and Ditko co-created with Stanley most of the Marvel characters.
Yeah, I think Jack pretty much created the Avengers, Hulk, all the ones you can see on the
major
on the
ones,
cinema. He created them. And they got paid just a kind of writing fee, even though they co-created, and they even get co-creation rights.
Even the Superman guys got nothing.
They were treated poorly. Like Ditko, died. He finally got what he kind of. His estate finally got money, and he got some money and stuff.
So his family.
I wished Ditko happy birthday 2 years ago.
Wow, really?
I didn't even know it was his birthday. Someone said in Midtown Comics, and I rang his doorbell.
Wow.
And his voice came on. I'm really sorry, but happy birthday. Sorry, ran off. Thinking, sorry. He probably gets this all the time. He's probably thinking, bastard. I was expecting a FedEx parcel. It's just some random kid going, hello. But no, Superman's a prime example.
Yeah.
Joey Siegel sold Superman rights to DC for $200. That was it.
That's
so
crazy.
They owned all the rights.
That's crazy.
And over the next 20 years or so, and if you look at anything with Superman in, it will say now created by on everything. Even if you look at because they won the rights.
They won that. Yeah, they won that. I think it was round the. Because I did a little segment on one of my previous podcasts about the Superman curse.
Yes.
And the fact that they put a curse on the film and the various actors that had issues and things like that. But it was a really fascinating read to read their whole long letter that they sent to DC.
I kind of and you had a guy I can't remember which one it was delivering paper and stuff to DC offices.
Yeah.
And you had I think it was Schuster who was writing Superman. He created him, and he was just one of the writers.
Yeah.
So there was
it was kind of work for hire, wasn't it? Sort of situation.
Yeah, and Neil kind of worked very hard. I think the second one was Bill Finger.
Yeah.
Because Bill Finger's only just got his name attached to Batman. It's Batman versus Superman. I think it was his first.
It was like it's not like Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster. It's created by Bob Kane with Bill Finger. And
like Bill Finger pretty much died penniless.
Yeah.
And in a little apartment.
Tragic.
Where Bob he actually admitted Bob.
Well, Bob was very much a Stan Lee type, wasn't he?
He liked the limelight a bit. Well, he didn't even draw half of the stuff he saw. What was his? He had a studio in Brooklyn that he had students drawing his style, and he would then sign them and say these originals.
Wow.
So don't go buying Bob Kane's originals because they may not be Bob Kane originals.
Oh, interesting.
But he actually admitted there was a guy writing his autobiography, and he said, "How much did Bill Finger have?
Yeah. How much input?
Yeah." And he was like, "Ooh," and I was thinking 30%, 75%.
Jesus.
So like everything you know about Batman in the lot, like Alfred, Batcave, Batmobile, the only thing Bob Kane did really was the suit.
Yeah, he designed it.
Yeah. So the first couple of issues, the Joker, all that kind of stuff, pretty much came from Bill Finger.
Wow. So Batmobile, all those.
Yeah,
So all the classic elements
yeah.
that define Batman
came from
Bill.
Yeah, so if you walk around a con and say who's Bob Kane, I created Batman.
Yeah,
who's
yeah.
Bill Finger? Who?
Nobody knows.
No,
Yeah.
and it's similar. It's similar with I think it's Jack's getting a little bit more because of Ragnarok and stuff like that. Because that's to me is just
pure
Jack,
Kirby.
yeah,
It's pure Kirby.
100%. Yeah. And Ditko, Stanley, because of the Spider-Man movie with Tobey Maguire and stuff, it does say Ditko on that and stuff.
It does.
So
yeah.
there were some other little bits, but I think Marvel needed Stan. They needed that kind of mouthpiece. They needed someone to kind of because. If you ever watch Jack or Ditko talk, they're not very good.
No, they're artists, but they're not necessarily the best socially.
Yeah, and to be fair, if someone said I'll pay you £1 million to lie if anyone asks you who you created, I think most people say, okay.
Yeah, sure, no problem.
Yeah, was it more than that? About 30 million?
Yeah, probably something like that.
Amount.
I know. Stan used to argue that it was his idea.
Yeah.
He came up with the concept, the idea, the powers, the origin. So it's his idea. The other guy's just drawing it.
Yeah, well, I watched a documentary. I think who's the guy who does Walking Dead?
Robert Kirkman.
Yeah, Kirkman.
I believe, yeah.
He does a program in the States about secret history of comics.
Okay.
And he did one about Ditko and Jack Kirby. And there's a bit where Stan Lee's talking, and it was only about a year before he died. So it's very new.
Recent. Yeah.
And they're talking about Silver Surfer.
Ah, yeah.
So he gave Jack the script. Jack went away.
This is the Marvel method, isn't it? So Stanley would kind of write roughly the story.
And then fill in the bubbles afterwards.
Yeah, pretty much.
So Jack came back and then put the stuff down and he went, who's this character? He wasn't in the script and he drew Silver Surfer.
Yeah.
He said, well, I think someone like Galactus would need a hill to go and get everything ready and this, that and the other. And he went, all right, okay. And in the interview he goes, that's how me and Jack created Silver Surfer.
Ah.
So even then, he
Yeah.
was still saying that he created... And he had nothing to do with that. It was completely Jack's. But don't take it away from me. Marvel wouldn't be Marvel today if they didn't have Stan Lee kind of fronting it. And, okay, so he sold all the rights to little movie studios and they got some really poor canon.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they needed the money. I think
Exactly, yeah.
So,
exactly.
Marvel wouldn't be Marvel without Stan.
Well, I mean, it's quite interesting because Lego and Marvel almost went bankrupt at the exact same time in the late 90s. I think 98, 97. And just look at them now.
Yeah.
Crazy. Absolutely crazy to think that you can turn a business around like that.
I'm not a Marvel fan anymore. I love old Marvel. I like
Classic
Marvel. But even up to kind of like the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like Jim Lee.
Yeah, Jim Lee X-Men. Yeah.
And even some of Chris Claremont stuff, I like that. Kind of the X-Men. Because it's classic.
It is classic. Yeah.
So
he defines the X-Men.
Yeah.
Redefines the X-Men.
The Avengers. And I've always loved the Hulk.
Yeah. Who doesn't love the Hulk?
I've never been a big Spider-Man fan, comic-wise, which is I prefer Creeper, Ditko.
The Creeper, yeah. I do like some of the Ditko creations.
Yeah.
I do like his style's very unusual and things. But for me, Spider-Man's my favourite.
Yeah.
It's the one I identify most with.
Well, I think
other than the X-Men.
That's the difference with DC and Marvel. The reason why I liked DC more than Marvel is because I had my own problems. I didn't want to read about someone else's.
Okay.
I wanted my heroes to be gods. I wanted them to be
and that's very much
bigger.
That's very much what DC are. I think I see DC as DC are gods trying to be human.
Yes.
And Marvel is kind of like these broken, almost monsters becoming heroes. These broken people becoming heroes. Dealing with those problems and becoming better.
Yeah, and
so it's kind of almost the opposite in some ways.
Being a teenager into comics in the 80s was difficult in some times.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to read about Peter Parker not doing his stuff. Yeah. I liked the action, I liked that, but I've never related. You
like the escapism.
Yeah,
you want the fantasy.
Yeah, I never related. I don't relate to characters. I never read, that's me.
Yeah. So you've never gone, that's a bit like me, or
not really.
I've felt like that. You've never identified.
No, for me, it's escapism.
Pure escapism.
Yeah,
okay.
I opened a book and I made my wife and Sarah and Amy. I made them both kind of because. I used to say my best friends when I was growing up was Batman and Superman. Yeah. And it was like, really? I said, no, my best friend's Mark.
Yeah.
But, whenever I had an issue, whenever I was concerned, I'd always read a comic.
Yeah.
I'd get a comic out and read through them and stuff. So
I think for me, it's the fact that somebody, like, I did the same thing. Like, I would, I'd have the issues, I'd have bullying or something, divorced parents, whatever the issue may be, I would escape through, comic books, video games, what have you. And I was like, somebody else is going through, I was feeling the same way I am. Yeah. Someone else is going through the similar things, or they're worrying about the same sort of stuff. like for me, that's what I liked. I think so. It's
See, I wanted to be saved. I think I'll talk about Superman. I can talk.
Oh,
we're doing an entire podcast.
I know you're going to talk about Superman. I can feel it coming.
But I kind of wanted kind of the Green. I love Green Lantern.
Yeah.
I like the space stuff. Green Lantern's just Star Wars with a green ring for me.
Yeah.
That's the way I kind of look at it. And I love. I can't. But having said that, my favorite arc is probably my favorite kind of storyline. It's probably when Neil Adams and Danny O'Neill wrote it, and Green Arrow saying like, why are you up there saving these people? Why aren't you down here saving the people on the streets and stuff?
Yeah.
And
that's the famous. It's the famous Green Lantern. What I see you helping the blue skins. The red skins, the purple skins on other planet. Why aren't you doing anything?
Yeah.
This elderly old man approaches him and he says, "Why aren't you doing anything for the black skins?"
Yes.
And he can't answer. He's ashamed of himself because he can't answer. He says, "You know what? I haven't done what I'm supposed to do. I'm not tackling these social ills and problems." Yeah. And he was very much kind of a conservative character, and Green Arrow was very much a liberal, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And they would challenge each other on these kind of misconceptions.
I love that area of comics what them two did, because it wasn't just Marvel did it as well, but they were pushing the boundaries. You had all these kind of people who'd read the comics, similar to what we've got now, who are now writing and drawing the comics.
Yeah.
So they were like, we're going to push this a little bit.
So more kind of issue-based comics.
Yeah, we not just all the action and something, but we're going to say we're going to have Speedy taking drugs.
Yeah.
We're going to have this. We're going to have a rape. We're going to have. Yeah. We had Green Lantern and.
So this is kind of coming out of the fantasy now and going back into kind of real world issues and real world problems. So
that was like kind of like the. But I like the fact that they argued about stuff and neither of them would agree.
Yeah.
They
would never go. You're right.
Yeah, intergalactic space policeman. Yeah. And this like guy with an arrow went, hang on a minute.
Yeah. They were both. Yeah. They never changed each other's minds. They were still who they were, and they were still best mates. Yeah. And that's what is great about that book, is that they're very politically, opposed in that form, but they were still the best of mates and would do anything for each other.
Yeah, and you have the famous junkie one, my Speedy, Speedy.
So Green Arrow's sidekick became a heroin addict.
Yeah, my ward is and that was a big thing in New York.
The cover,
straight through. And,
the cover depicts
printed without the comic code.
Yeah, exactly. The cover depicts his teenage sidekick shooting up heroin. That you don't see that in comics. You probably don't even see that today in comics.
Not really. Well, you get a bag over them now.
Yeah, of course.
But that was like kind of like also Green Lantern going, hang on a minute, you're lecturing me.
Yeah. Look at this.
Look at this sort of stuff. It's like,
because he starts beating up Speedy and is like, how can you take drugs? And he's like, and then Green Lantern's like, well, you can't handle it like that.
Yeah, you got to find why he's doing that and this and the other stuff.
Fascinating.
So they kept flipping all the time, which is I love that. I think it's great. And
I'll be honest, like they're a little bit dated in a way, because I read them fairly recently, because they're a little heavy-handed, not preachiness, but the messages they're trying to convey. But that was never done.
No,
I think
that's why it was heavy-handed. I think that's, and I love old comics, and they're almost like a history lesson. And there's like Justice League books, and there's one of them, I can't remember which issue it is. They're in a stadium, and minds have been taken over.
Okay,
so they're attacking the Justice League. The racism and stuff coming out of the crowd against the Justice League, and we're going to go after this person, that person, the commies. And you're reading and thinking,
all this hatred's coming out.
But in the reprints, they've kept it in as well.
Yeah.
Which I think is really important. Unlike Beano, when they've edited all these things out, like, it never happens to Dirty Secret.
Yeah.
Even in the DC reprints, they're still in there.
I know for a fact they did that with the Captain Marvel.
Yes.
So the Shazam books.
Yes.
They kept, but they did do a foreword explaining why they've kept it in.
And I think it's really important because it shows how far we've come.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
And if we just ignore it and say,
but we need to, like, with those issues, if it's like book burning, isn't it? Like Nazi book burning.
Yeah.
If we're destroying these things, we're not going to remember why these are offensive or why we don't do these things. We don't say these things anymore. We need to remember our faults in order to not do, not to repeat them in the future.
But having said all that,
I butchered a famous quote there somehow.
Yeah,
but
having said all that, I did like Batman being an insect in the 60s. And Zebra Batman.
All the Rainbow Batman.
I like all that kind of.
Yeah, all those kind of kooky weird ones.
But I like them. I like them to hate them, if you know what I mean. Because my Batman is definitely the modern
grim,
Batman.
the grim Avenger.
I hate the 66 program with an absolute passion.
I think with the 66 program was a send up, and it was like an obvious kind of representation of the comics at that time.
I hate it.
But yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
I almost threw Amy into
My friend Dan Keith is
the...
bringing him up again. He loves the 66
I
Batman.
hate it. Some days you just can't get rid of a bomb. Blow yourself up. That's what I say. And
I do love it. I reread Batman Venom for the podcast recently, and it reminded me of because he fights a shark in it.
Yeah.
And I think he makes a joke about the shark repellent, and I was like,
I love Batman Venom.
Yeah. Batman Venom is a great book.
Great, it's really good.
Such a good book.
Yeah,
and it's a great kind of prequel to the whole Nightfall saga and the Venom.
But it's kind of like him realizing I can't do these things, and I'm going to do the. Oh, I like this a bit too much. I like the power. Like he's had the power ring on before.
Yeah, he's had all this. He gives it away because he's like, it's not natural, it's not right.
Yeah,
I don't want to do it.
Having that drug and being completely addicted to it and having to go.
What I liked is Denny O'Neil wrote it.
Yes.
And I know he's had issues with alcoholism.
Yeah.
And he wrote a run on Iron Man as well, where he had his second bender. It probably went on a little too long, the bender, but it was just so well done and so well written. And Captain America's confronting Tony Stark and going, you need to get help, but you need to know when you need help.
Yeah.
My dad was an alcoholic too, so I understand where the problems you're dealing with, but you can't help yourself until you decide to do that.
Read Batman Venom, it's great.
Yeah, read Batman Venom. Yes,
Batman Venom. You can get it.
Listen to my podcast. Read Batman Venom.
Yeah,
do both.
It's
do it at the same time.
Trade paperback.
Is it available at the Comic Den?
Yes, we still have it very quickly.
Okay.
Whenever it comes in, it's one of those books that flies off.
Goes quick.
I talk about it a lot.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
And you're right, you've got the Bane leading to it. You've got kind of all the...
Santa Brisca's in it as well. They got Santa Brisca, which is where Bane's from, and the prison and everything.
So you've got all this kind of build up to it.
Yeah, it's quite disturbing to see Batman like maniacally laughing and like his shirt's ripping, and then his kind of recovery, locking himself in the Batcave.
Going cold turkey.
Yeah, cold turkey's amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so speaking of that, what books would you recommend for people that have never read any comic books? Like say you're an adult, for example. I'll tell you what's good for young children, what's good for teenagers, and what's good for adults as a kind of a gateway drug, so to speak.
Right. If you want superheroes, you've obviously got Marvel, DC. If you want more kind of adult stuff, Image, Dark Horse, a lot of the indie titles, Valiant.
Yeah.
But even with DC, you got Vertigo. Which is
true.
Stuff,
Vertigo has some of my favourite books.
Yeah, so you've still got kind of that sort of, but you see, I don't really distinguish between kind of adult books and teen books.
Okay.
I kind of think they're probably the same.
They do have an age rating on them now, don't they?
Woolly though.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, there's a Wonder Woman book that came out a few weeks ago. He's got a cutting someone's head off.
Okay.
And that's teen.
Okay.
So, but then you got the Black Label stuff now, which is allegedly adult. You know, with the Batwang.
Oh dear.
Yes. But
80 years of Batwang.
You see, I kind of, from a comic point of view, you look for kind of like Batman 50, Batman 75.
Yeah.
Areas where you can jump on. Like at the moment, I think in 2 months' time it's going to be City of Bane, which is going to be the big Batman event.
Nice. Sounds great already. I'm sold.
Have you read the wedding stuff?
No, I've not read the wedding stuff.
Okay, well, it comes out of that. So you've got the wedding stuff and you've got the Bane. So jumping on to kind of events, which is a good way of getting started. But for me, get a graphic.
Yeah.
Get something like the Batman get the Rebirth stuff for superheroes.
Okay.
And get the essential collections for Marvel.
Yes, I think I've got one in this room.
Yeah, because in the essential collections you have kind of the origin story of the character. Then you have 2 or 3 kind of pinnacle stories.
The essentials are in black. Are they in black and white?
No, they're in colour.
Are they in colour now?
Yeah,
because I've got I remember the black and white ones they did.
Yeah, they're kind of like a UK exclusive. They've got the UK number on the the UK. I love Batman. I love Superman. I cannot read Superman.
You love Superman.
I do. It's weird. But you can't go.
Depends how much you love Superman.
I do, yeah. But anyway, I will come on to Superman. Any of the Rebirth stuff, because they relaunched the characters, and anything what came after kind of like Dark Knight's Metal, that was like a soft reboot. It didn't actually change.
So this is all quite modern stuff.
Yeah. Older stuff. Any of the graphics, any kind of like the collections they do. Like DC do these massive collections.
And you have at the Comic Den you have stacks and stacks of the graphics and the trade paperbacks.
We have lots of trade. We have lots of the main collection with the omnibus versions. Spider-Man sells very well because I think Spider-Man's an all-age comic.
Yeah.
You're not going to pick Spider-Man and see someone's head being cut off.
No.
And if you do, it's going to be slightly off camera.
Yeah, it's not going to be.
You're just going to see some legs or something. So you can't go wrong with Spider-Man. Captain Marvel and Miss Marvel.
Yeah.
Miss Marvel especially.
Is that the Kamala Khan?
Yes,
Kamala
yeah.
Khan
I
Miss
think
Marvel.
that's awesome. I think kids love that.
I do like.
Yeah.
I've read, I think, the first 7 or 8,
And
9
she's
issues.
so positive about everything.
Yeah, she's a fangirl. She's a comic book fangirl, superhero fangirl.
That's really cool. Faith, which is a Valiant book.
Yeah, I've heard about Faith.
Faith and Harbinger and stuff, amazing. Faith is great.
Faith is a how to put it.
She's a chubby white girl who's clumsy.
You put it as delicately as I wanted.
Which is what and that's what it is.
She's a BBW, a big beautiful woman.
Yeah, she's not your typical super. She's not wearing the skimpy skin tight clothes.
Exactly. I think that puts off a lot of female readers because they go, oh, the giant breasts, tiny waist, unrealistic body types. It's not fair. I can't cosplay that and things like that. But this character is for everybody.
Yeah, Faith is great, and she's clumsy. And she's quite relatable. My Sarah and Amy read
Faith. Yeah.
Kingdom Come for an adult.
Oh, I do love Kingdom Come. Yeah.
Bill Alex Ross.
Yeah. So good.
Watchmen.
Back in the 90s, there was like these books that were like coffee table books. And Kingdom Come was one of them.
Kingdom Come's amazing.
Marvels as well. I love Marvels.
Is great. This reissued Marvels.
Yeah.
Like a comic form with all that stuff in it. Marvels is great.
Again, this is all paint. Alex Ross is one of my favourite artists. He does photorealistic artwork. It looks, it looks like they've stepped out in real life.
I don't like the way he draws Superman.
Fair enough. I think that's fair.
But that's all. I like his Batman.
But yeah, his work does look beautiful. But I don't.
Spawn's great.
Spawn, that's Image as well.
Image, McFarlane, Spawn. Obviously, Walking Dead.
Yeah, big
probably
one.
The first 25 issues.
Okay, I think it's coming to a close, isn't it? Recently.
Yes. It's.
I know Invincible. Invincible's a big one. I know
Invincible. We've got them. We've actually just got them in, and a little bit of trivia for you.
Yeah.
Ian Richardson, who's at Oldham Comic Con, was the first ever character to draw him.
Wow.
He also drew it on the wall in my shop as well.
There you go. Yeah, I know another podcast I listen to and friends with at Nerds Chatting can't say enough good things about Invincible. They love Invincible.
Yeah.
I've only read the first 3 volumes, but I did really love what I read.
The first one.
I just haven't carried it on for some reason.
Kids comics. The things about kids comics, they're either really stupid and they talk like they're stupid.
Kind of a Teen Titans Go.
Yeah, which is fine. There's a market for that. But DC have just done DC Inc. and DC Zoom. Now DC Inc. is kind of a teen, more aimed at the manga market, I would say.
Okay.
A little bit bigger than manga.
Yeah.
They're stylized. They're one color inside. They tackle, like for instance, the Mirror one which just come out has got tackling gay relationships and things. The Catwoman one's come out. It's going to have abuse and things in it. So and self-harming. Okay. So there's things that teenagers I think
deal with
today. I think is that kind of stuff. And DC Zoom is just kids books.
Yeah.
It's just proper Batman and Superman as kids going out there and having a laugh.
And I think that's good to be aware of for parents and families buying these books. They can, you can obviously flick through them and see if they're appropriate for your child if you don't want to, But not everything's, Batman versus Superman, blood and guts, and
No. Most mainstream comics, I would say, aren't like that. A lot of the indie stuff are. A lot of the indie stuff is. But I think the shock factor with some indie stuff gets a bit too like, oh god,
they're doing it for like a Mark Miller.
Yeah,
and he does like the
It kind of it gets boring. I just talking about coming like Elseworlds and What Ifs.
Yeah.
If you want to read something different but the same, read Marvel's a What If. So what if the Punisher became Spider-Man?
Yeah.
What if Grey Hulk stayed? What if Thor had a haircut and be a villain?
I mean, I don't know. Possibly one of the Marvel multiverses. That might be true.
And then with DC, you've got like Speeding Bullet, which is
I do want to read that.
Speeding Bullet's great, and we have it.
Might have to get that.
Speeding Bullet is basically Clark Kent's parents get shot, not Bruce Wayne. So he puts the bat suit on, but he's got Superman's powers.
Sweet. Sold.
Yeah, you've got Kent's, which is Superman lands in Wild West.
Cool.
You've also got Cal, which is medieval. You've got Knights of the Round Table.
Sweet. So Spider Knights of the Round Table.
There we go. But
Good
there's
segue.
Batman with the ring.
Oh, the Green Lantern ring.
Yeah, Green Lantern ring. You've got one of my favourites, which is really underrated. There's two is Gotham by Gaslight.
Yeah.
which is Batman against Jack the Ripper.
I've not read. I've seen the animated movie, but I know the book is very different.
And there's a new version out, Noir, which is all black and white, which is beautiful.
Nice.
Hardback, gorgeous. And one called Castle of the Bat, which not people think...
I've heard of this. I have heard of it.
So Bruce Wayne's parents get killed, but he doesn't become Batman. He builds Batman. He builds a Frankenstein to go out and do it, and it's painted. Everything's painted. All the artwork. I can't remember who did the artwork, but beautiful. But you've got loads of these like collections now with them all in there. You've got like Red Sun. I
love Red Sun. Is one of the best Superman stories ever. Easily. Whatever you think of Mark Millar's work, that is probably some of his best.
Definitely. I think his early stuff's better than anything now.
I do.
So Red Sun. So those are sort of, but you can't go wrong with going in and picking up a Rebirth.
No.
They've all got little things up, and they're all numbered.
And again, the Rebirth is basically a kind of a reset. It's a jumping on point for new readers.
For new readers, don't get hung up on the numbers.
Yes,
because the story arcs.
Yeah.
So it's
sometimes they're labelled as story arcs, so there'll be part one of City of Bane or something like that.
Like No Man's Land and stuff like that.
Things like that. So
don't be people coming in and say, "Well, they can't get a number one that I'm going to buy," but it doesn't matter because the story arcs.
What's interesting to me, what I like, I remember I listened to Kevin Smith's podcast, and he said when he started writing comics, they said to him, every comic is somebody's first comic. So that's why they always have a little kind of introductory thing, like Daredevil was blinded at birth and blinded in an accident and got his powers this way. Always did that. And he was like, no, why? They know this. Everyone knows this. You don't need to be told this again. They're like, no. Every comic is somebody's first comic. It has to be introduced. So it's not... You're not jumping onto a story that's been 20, 30, 40, 50 years progressing. It's just one part of one small story you're reading, and it is a continuation.
I like new customers to come in and ask questions. One, it's fresh meat. So straight away I can say DC's better.
Yeah,
it's my shop.
Straight away.
There we go.
Straight away.
But
the war continues.
Yes, but the other thing is like new customers struggle because you've got this like 80 years of continuity in some of the books. But it's a case of saying, well, you don't worry about that. They're always jumping on points.
Yeah, definitely.
And buy the graphics.
Yeah, exactly.
Because the graphics
got a complete story.
So like Death in the Family, buy Death in the Family is great. Buy this, go out and buy. Don't buy the Clone Saga. Don't buy Spider-Man Clone Saga.
Spider-Man Clone Saga is not. I mean, I didn't think it was as bad as people made it out to be, but it was far too long.
Buy Maximum Carnage instead, which is 90s book.
Maximum Carnage is great. It is good.
And if any book sums up 90s comics, there's Nightfall and Maximum Carnage for me.
Yeah, Nightfalls. I used to have the tape. There was a tape audio drama, a BBC audio drama, and it was Nightfall. And that part, another thing that got me more into comics, more into Batman especially.
I've got it on CD. It's great. Yeah, so John
good.
Paul Valley and as Bats, which I was talking to Ian Richardson. I love name dropping on the phone to him. I was like, my spare bedroom's like a 14-year-old boy's bedroom with action figures everywhere. Something lied there.
Not unlike mine.
Yeah, you're more of a 15-year-old boy.
Okay, bedroom. Fair enough.
So I'm like there talking to him and said, you know what? I like Asbat. I like his suit.
Yeah.
Visually it's very pretty.
Yeah, I think the earlier one, like the later one towards the end of Nightfall, doesn't look. It's too bulky and stuff. I like that. But that initial one, I really like.
Because you look at the 90s. You had Wildstorm. You had all these kind of big characters. You had all these teams coming out of Image and
violence, blades,
that
and sort of stuff.
The one thing that DC was kill Superman off. No one likes Superman was killing. People saying Bruce Wayne, why doesn't he kill him? Well, we'll give him a Batman that does kill people. Yeah.
And they did that with Captain America as well. Iron Man was replaced as well. Remember, Captain America was took over by Johnny Walker or John Walker.
Yeah.
And then the Red Skull had his whole family killed. And then there's him with like shooting an Uzi, and he kills these guys and he walks off. He's this horrible grin, this horrible evil grin. That story is called Captain America: The Captain. It's amazing. He basically, the government says, you've got to work for us. We own you. We own Captain America. And then Captain America takes on another guy. It's not Nomad. He becomes the Captain.
Yeah.
But so the fact that they had this mentally unstable Captain America was chilling. Really chilling.
Oh, because he's Superman, and Captain America is that kind of.
He's the. I mean, he has shot people and killed people, especially in the war. But he's still
Superman.
Yeah.
People think this thing about Superman doesn't kill and Batman doesn't kill. Batman nuked people. He killed Ra's al Ghul and turned him into dust.
Fair play. Yeah.
He's killed people.
Yeah. And I mean, Superman used to be quite Superman and Batman were very kind of vicious in those early comics.
Well, if you look at kind of white collar people wrote them. You know, Superman originally and Batman, they went after kind of like criminals on the street. So you had Superman going after the guy who's, you know, like a loan shark. Sort of stuff like that. You had Batman doing the same. You had Batman with a gun and these lovely purple gloves and stuff. So you had these kind of very white collar people earthing who they were supposed to be against, not just Lex Luthor and all these big dark side and stuff.
It was kind of gangster. It was real life problems, real life issues. Just 1930s gangsters, you know, and that was a big issue. You know, it was probation around that time, prohibition. Sorry. And
I've completely forgot my point.
It's all right. Don't worry.
I did have one.
There are points about what were we talking about. We were talking about 90s comics, talking about violence. I think
that was it. Yeah. So you know, to have a violent Batman and have a Batman, it's you know, and
you get they literally they've given the what the audience wants. They've given them what they want, and then they go, "Ooh, yeah, I don't know if I like that."
That's what I don't like about modern Marvel. There's a few. I love comics.
Yeah.
The kind
really? I wouldn't have guessed.
But the kind of who I am. Yeah. If that makes sense.
I agree.
Sarah basically says
ingrained in me as well.
If I cut open, I can bleed ink kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You know,
like
I do. Yeah. But I don't necessarily like the business.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Well, I'm an actor. I don't like the business.
Yeah.
The acting business.
I don't like variant covers. I don't like
shiny ones.
I that's a lie. I do like them, but I don't like the fact you got to buy 100 Marvel comics to get one.
Yeah. Which
completely skews kind of figures about buying, and it screws the fan.
Yeah.
And DC again. I'm going to do a bit of DC versus Marvel. DC, you can buy any variant you want.
Yeah.
And for the same price.
Yeah.
And that's it. It's done.
And that's it. Yeah, you've got that covered.
And I don't like change just for the hell of it.
Let's talk about what you don't like. So what you don't like maybe at conventions, what you don't like at the shop, what you don't like at, you know, what's your
like
pet
people.
People are your pet peeve.
I don't like people. No, I am business. I don't like direct sale.
Right. Okay.
I think you should be able to. This is really stupid. I've got on a comic book shop and I don't like direct sale. But I think it means that there's no leeway. If something messes up, you can't say, well, I tell you what, I'm going to go to, like Sky, I'm going to go to Virgin.
Yeah.
There's no way you can go. And for the part-time reader, I know this has been slightly addressed with DC doing the Walmart books and things like that.
Yeah.
But in this country at the moment, it's either Panini, which have lost the contracts, I think.
I think so, yeah.
You know, there's no way you can buy comics from a comic book shop. So if there's no comic book shop on your street, it's at eBay and stuff, but you can't go and just geek out.
Yeah.
So I don't like the direct, and I don't like the way that Marvel changes stuff just to get sales. And that's...
Yeah. So they're very much into fads, I think, Marvel.
Yeah.
Even going back to like 60s, 70s, like Kung Fu was very in, so there was Shang-Chi, Iron Fist, Blaxploitation was in, so you had Luke Cage.
And it's not because I'm a woman hater or racist or anything like that. No. I think, because if you change... Okay, Thor changed into a woman.
Yeah, Jane Foster became Thor, yeah.
Not only is it poorly written, not only is it poorly executed, there's no point. There's no reason for it. And you think, well, why have you done that?
Because so is this, are you talking about like tokenism? The idea of tokenism, yeah.
When you change Captain America to Falcon, that made complete sense.
Perfect, yeah.
It worked perfectly in the story, what was being told. It made sense that he would take on.
For the growth of the character.
Everything made... The story was well written, it was well executed.
I think it's one of those things that, like, why was Carol Danvers not Captain Marvel years ago? Yeah. Why was Falcon not Captain America years ago?
And it wasn't a case, right, we're going to have Falcon as Captain America, we're going to have Captain America #1. So we're going to make it... It was just, there we go.
Yeah, just carrying on.
It was done.
I think they did change it to Captain America Sam Wilson. Because they brought back Steve as a captain. They had two Captain Americas going at the same time.
But it made sense.
Yeah.
Now...
Perfect.
Just to change something.
For the sake of changing it.
We would never change Black Panther. We would never say Black Panther's going to be white.
No, of course.
And I had this argument with a woman in Malta about it.
Okay.
And she basically, he's an African, king
Prince,
or whatever. Well, okay. But he's a fictional character. And from what I can gather, Thor is pretty much, apart from being a frog, he's pretty much always been a guy.
Yeah.
So I don't like that. And the thing is, if you're going to change, keep it that way.
Yeah. Keep it organic.
Yeah, if you're going to change Thor into a female, let's not have it for 4 months. Let's have it for years.
Yeah.
Let's make it into the story. And I don't like the way that Marvel kind of, all of a sudden Bobby's gay, Iceman.
Yeah, I mean there were. I will say that about Iceman. There were hints in the 90s.
But they made a massive deal out of it. Where you've got Batwoman, who I think at issue 12 or something like that. You didn't even.
I think she was in 50. She was introduced in 52.
Yeah, but you kind of it was mentioned. Yeah, but the words were never mentioned.
I think what it sometimes has to be is there have to be a character who happens to be
Yes.
a woman, who happens to be gay, who happens to be black.
That doesn't define the character.
Exactly. They have to be a fully functioning character, and if you took those elements away, they would still be a good character.
Very much so. But I find Marvel sometimes struggle with that.
Yeah.
They sometimes make the fact they're gay or transgender or whatever, they make that the focus of the character.
Yeah.
And it's not, because you don't make a big focus over the fact that, well, you did in the 60s, but, you know, Iron Man's should be riddled with syphilis and stuff.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter. So why do we make it a big deal now? Now, I think comics now are far more accessible to everybody. We have more diverse characters than we've ever had before.
I mean, arguably, I think comics for decades have been flying the flag for diversity.
Very much so.
Way before movies, way before TV, way before anything else. We had a black female Captain Marvel in, Monica Rambeau's amazing character who's in the most recent movie as well.
He's probably the strongest character in the movie.
Exactly, technically. You know, we had that years ago. We've had Black Panther was introduced. I said to somebody the other day, Black Panther has been around since the 60s. She went, what? I was like, he's been around since the 60s. He's always been there. And they're like, oh, I thought it was quite a modern thing, quite a modern character. And I was like, no. Marvel and DC, like DC, maybe not so. They weren't so great with the kind of diversity thing early on, but they going
back to Neil Adams, like Jon Stewart and stuff like that. He's very proud of Jon Stewart coming, doing stuff like that. But there's certain things that if we're going to change a guy's colour or gender or whatever, then it needs to be in context of the story.
Yes,
and it doesn't matter whether we change Black Panther white as long as in the context of the story.
Yes,
if we're just changing it to get sales, and that's what happens. Like when they did,
there's a spike in sales.
Yeah, and Thor's never recovered from it.
It's like when they kill off a character. There's a spike in sales, but it's only for a small amount of time.
But it's like Thor's numbers has never recovered from that because the story was that poor.
Yeah,
you get like Spider-Gwen and Miles Morales. Now the difference with them, like Miles Morales, because he's Spider-Man, people took more interest in him.
Yeah,
because he's Spider-Man.
Right.
So people and we had Signal in Batman and
Yes. Yeah.
But no one's taking interest. No one's really bothering about them, and they've just been kind of like Signal's been on for the guy's been on for years. He's just recently got.
I read. What did I read? I think it was my worst enemy. My best enemy is the road trip with Two-Face and Batman.
Yeah.
I think Signal's in that, and there was like a little short story with him. I've never read a comic with him in, but he's a really good character. But again, like they've taken time to develop them.
And that's what they did with Batwoman. Yeah. Batwoman, she's openly gay. She wants to marry her partner, but it's never really spoken about. I think in the first 3 issues, you don't even mention it or anything because
there's not a spotlight on it.
It's not about her being gay.
No, she's a superhero.
Yeah,
that's what she does. That's who she is.
And I kind of want that. My con is all based about diversity, getting as many people in. So I want that in comics.
We definitely.
But I don't want it as a quick fix to get sales up.
I think you can be unnecessarily, and you might not even mean it, but you can slip into tokenism quite easily. When you're going for diversity, you can slip into tokenism, and that's the sad fact. But when you do that, that's not good. Not good for the industry. It's not good for any industry to do that.
I read an article the other week about Marvel said they're going to have like a body positive hero or something.
Cool.
And when you think about it, do we need a positive? Do we need it forced upon us? Because why isn't I watch football. I don't look anything like football players.
You do not.
No. Am I offended by that? No, because they're footballers.
Yeah, professional athletes.
Yeah, and you look at other bodybuilders. I look nothing like a bodybuilder. Yeah. If I see it, I think, oh, how dare you have muscles? I'm not. It doesn't offend me.
No.
And I think we get into this kind of genre in comics now where we're trying to appease too many people.
We do have. There is something to be said. Like I think political correctness has its place definitely, and it is important to have, and very much so. But I think there are PC fanatics out there that will be offended by anything, and people can choose to be offended by things. They don't have to be offended by things. It's a choice.
If you don't like it, don't read it.
Yeah, go away, move, go away. Don't spend any time with it. I think there's a lot of people out there now that are trying to get something out of it.
Yes.
So, like, everyone has the right to be offended. Everybody. If you want to be offended, you have to do it right.
I offend a lot of people.
Yeah. Just on this podcast alone.
Yeah.
So many people. But people are trying to get things out of it. They're trying to get either further up in their business, wherever they work, or, they want I want a free comic now because you offended me at your Comic-Con. Yeah. But that's what we've come to a culture when that is happening. And I think that's very dangerous.
And kind of like looking at Batman, saying, why can't Batman be black? Because he's not. He's come from white money.
Yeah, old money. Yeah,
that's where he's come from. He's come from white old money. That's who he is. That's what his family is. and that's why that's what it is.
Here's the thing. You've spoken about the Batwang earlier.
Yeah.
Why can't we see Batman's dick?
Yes.
Why not?
I agree.
And then Batman got his dick out, went viral, and they were like, "Oh, we don't want to show Batman's dick anymore." But there was a spike in sales, but then they cancelled the book for whatever reason. I was just like, "But you did that. Why wouldn't that get a reaction?"
And it's an adult book.
Yeah, it's an adult book for adult readers.
Yeah.
And it's not even. It's an outline of a dick. It's not even a full dick.
I prefer his bottom, to be honest.
Yeah, he's got a very
He
tweet.
definitely
bottom.
squats.
Oh yeah, so many. How many squats a night do you think? 250.
More. I think about 500.
Does it in his sleep?
I think he squats from the manor all the way down to the Batmobile.
Do you think he's upside down and squatting?
Yeah,
He's doing upside down squats.
I think he's walking down the steps going, "How many is that, Alfred? It's 500, Mr. Wayne. Well, carry on going." There we go.
Fishy swerse.
Yes, he's hiding his where's my cowl? Not need to do another 50. Oh, okay, there we go.
Sounds like your childhood.
Run.
Run, or you won't get your comic.
But I love diversity in comics.
It's important. It's very
and
important.
not just that. I'm from Manchester.
Yeah.
I love Manchester. I love New York, which are very diverse cities.
Yes.
I can't walk around and not.
We can't live without diversity.
Yeah,
you can't function without diversity.
Exactly, with the stuff here. So I'm not saying, I don't.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I think it needs to be done in context.
Yeah.
And when Falcon became Captain America, it
was great.
And the thing is, it wasn't a big deal.
No.
And it wasn't done it was done in a time where you didn't
It felt right.
Yeah.
It felt right.
And it made complete sense.
And there's so many, I was reading Alpha Flight, 1980s Alpha Flight, John Byrne, love John Byrne, love his artwork,
Yeah, it's great.
amazing. And they have, there's a character in there called, I think it's Roger or Robert Box, and the superhero name is just Box, and he is a mutant who has no legs, disabled. There's Puck in there who's a dwarf. North Star was hinted, he wasn't out as gay in that comic, but he was hinted at as being gay. There's all these kind of characters. But again, like you said, that never happened before. You never had a superhero as a dwarf. You never had a later openly gay superhero, or even hinted at being gay. Yeah. You had all this kind of unique. So Roger Box is a disabled. He doesn't have any legs, but he can morph metal or go inside this robot armored thing, whatever his powers are, I'm not entirely sure, but something like that. But again, they never happened before, but it was never like a selling point. It was like it's great to see these people represented, and it's happened naturally. And it's not they're not making they're like, oh, look what we're doing.
Yeah.
Look, we're being inclusive. It's
look
not
at Doom
that
Patrol
point.
and X-Men.
Doom Patrol and X-Men, great examples.
It's
Huge LGBT fan base.
Yeah, it's who they are. They're just people who, one of them's got this issue, one of them's got, and it's not who they are.
No.
No one.
They're still superheroes.
Yeah. You look and think, I'm a heterosexual guy who wears me pants on the outside. And I do think it's important that it's done for the right reasons.
Yes. No, I totally agree.
Last thing I hear about comics is flippers.
People who just flip through.
No. People
Flip to the end.
People who buy a comic on your shelf and then put it on eBay for double the price. Don't like that, because I want people to come back to my shop.
Yes.
I want people to enjoy a run of comics.
Yeah.
So the Spider-Man
it's about the joy and
Yeah.
And I think that's what's great about your convention, your shop, is that everybody could come. It's inclusive to everybody. No matter what age, whoever you are, where you're from, whatever, come enjoy. It's free. You can and obviously you're encouraged to buy things, because at the end of the day it's a business, and in the con as well. But your love for comics is just. It breathes new life into me and into various other people that go, and new fans alike. And like you said, 6,000 people last year for the convention.
Yeah, and
it's unheard of.
I do get very excitable about comics. People have to shut me up when I talk about them, because they are a massive part of my life.
Yeah.
In pecking order in my house is like Amy, comics, comic-related action figures, comic-related movies, comic-related bedding,
right?
My wife. That's kind of how it goes. And to be fair, certain books might just push Amy out of the top spot.
Depending on it.
Yeah, depending on what.
If it's a Daredevil Born Again,
Yeah, for me it's like Kelly Jones's stuff.
Yeah,
I love his Batman, and people don't like his kind of look at his fingers and his big ears and all his veins.
Well, effectively he's a horror character,
and I love it because I think Batman should be scary.
Yeah.
And sometimes
that's the whole point.
I sometimes
he's
think,
spreading fear.
Yeah, he drops down his lovely press suit.
Yeah.
Boo! It's like. It's scary me, but
wait a minute.
If that Batman dropped down with his the
ears and everything,
you'd go,
Yeah. Oh my god. You don't want to meet him in a dark
I'm
alley.
instantly going to give up crime.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So
done. I mean, we are a suspicious and cowardly lot. So
yes, yeah.
And you've done it.
And you've got very big ears, and I love your long cape.
Oh, I love that stuff. So I think we're coming slowly to an end. But I just want to. I reached out to the Twitterati and the Facebook people, the Facebook, I don't know what to call them. Community, yes, community, social community. So I've asked a few questions. I wanted to see if they'd ask any questions. I got one back from, again, Mr. DL Keatis, Mr. Dan Keatis, at DL Keatis on Twitter. And he said he wanted to ask you and me, DC, Marvel, Image, 2 have got to go. Which do you keep and why?
I get rid of Image, and I get rid of Marvel.
Okay, but why?
I get rid of Marvel because they don't need to make comics anymore.
Okay, ouch.
Because what they're putting out, apart from their book, is not great.
Okay.
And they put lots and lots of books out. So it's very diluted. So from a Marvel point of view, stick to your movies.
And again, that's the problem with the comic book industry. No one's buying Marvel.
Yeah,
They're going to see the movies.
Yeah, they won't. And I don't think Marvel needs to put, because Disney are this big.
Do we still have the older comics? I think is that what the question tells? We still have the classics?
I think they put the omnibus stuff out. I think, or they do what they're doing with the kids' comics to get IDW to publish them.
So we're saying nothing from this point onwards.
No, I think stop. And Image, I don't really have a good reason for Image. I like some of Image stuff, but some of the books are really poor. Yeah. And they last for like 2 issues. I think I'm going to agree with you. Oh. Because again, I've been buying a fair few on Comixology. There's a fair few sales on DC, and during the 90s there was so many runs I like to read of DC characters that never got reprinted or in trade paperbacks or graphic novels. But now they're there, and I can read them. I never had that, and with Marvel, like you said, I've not read a lot of modern Marvel. Like the odd book here and there I'll read, but for the most part I go old Marvel, I go classic Marvel, 70s, 60s, 80s, 90s. I stick with that for the most part because I'm a nerd and I like the older ones. Image, I'll be honest, I prefer Vertigo, DC Vertigo. Also, I like superheroes.
Yeah.
I do like, and it's a cliche, but I do like superheroes.
DC Vertigo's put out my 2 favourite comics of all time. Why the Last Man and Preacher.
Yeah.
And they're not really superhero books either. No. They're totally when I tell people that, they're like, what? I'm like, what are they? Obviously Preacher has a show. Why the Last Man was going to have a show, but I think it's been cancelled already, unfortunately, which would have been really good because again, some great, strong, diverse women in there. It would have been an amazing show. Really but yeah, it's such a fantastic book. So because of those 2 things, I would keep DC, lose Marvel and Image as well.
Yeah, but I mean, the best, if you want to buy a Marvel book, buy Immortal Hulk.
Immortal Hulk, got it.
Buy that one. Definitely buy Immortal Hulk.
Don't you have a guest who?
I might have the writer at Oldham Comic Con.
Oh,
yeah. I'm not just saying that because he's a guest. The book is awesome. Yeah. It's so good.
I'm gonna get on that tonight. Yeah. I'm gonna get on some Immortal Hulk tonight.
The way it's written and stuff, Hulk's just different. It's a horror book.
Yeah. So Banner died, didn't he? Yes. And then he's come back, but now he transforms every time he dies. Is that right?
At nighttime. Transforms.
So like the old Grey Hulk.
Yeah, very much like
Grey Hulk. Yeah. Grey Hulk is my favourite Hulk.
Yeah.
I loved him when he was a bouncer, gangster, leg breaker.
Joe may be coming back.
Ooh, good old Joe Fix-It.
Yeah, he may be coming back.
Oh, fingers crossed. Because
bit of a spoiler.
Yeah.
Last panel, last book. Banner turns around, his eyes have gone grey.
Oh.
So I'm pretty sure that Joel's going to be coming back.
Please. He's my favourite. I read the early Peter David run. Hulk Ground Zero, I think it's called.
Yeah, when I was talking about that big box of... Yeah. They were all Joe Fix-It books. And there were the Punisher and stuff. And he's all that kind of Spider-Man and McFarlane stuff. So that was the Hulk.
I like... Because, I mean, everyone likes the Hulk smash, Green Hulk. But I because he's crafty. He's a ladies' man.
Well,
he's horrible as well. Yeah. He's really horrible.
Well, the Immortal Hulk's a bit... He plays with his victims a little bit. Yeah. He's like, oh, really? Yeah. Oh, never mind.
Yeah.
Smash.
I remember there was like a comment, and they were like, he was like, I wish Ben Grimm was here, and he was like, why? So he could team up with you, and you could battle this evil. And they're like, no, so he could die first.
That's awesome. But yeah, Immortal and the last Captain Marvel miniseries, The Life of Captain Marvel.
Perfect.
The book's not great. The what came after us, but the actual 6-issue, I think it was 6-issue miniseries, is great.
Okay, so we're going to come to an end now. Thank you very much for being my guest. Talking about comics, I love talking comics. I could go on for hours, but we can't, unfortunately. So tell us.
I think we can.
We could just stop recording and we do it again. We do 2 lots. We could do 2 parts.
Just do it all forever.
So tell everybody when Free Comic Book Day is, where the Comic Den is, where Oldham Comic Con's going to be, all that information.
Free Comic Book Day is the 4th of May. My shop is in Oldham, and it's called Manchester Chambers. It's the first shop you see. If you come out of the Spindle Centre, look to your left hand side, the shop's there. We do pre-orders, we sell action figures, we sell loads of graphics. And they're very cheap, and they're cheaper than Forbidden Planet.
Boom. There you go.
And Travelling Man.
There you go. And Oldham Comic Con.
Oldham Comic Con's 11th of May.
Where?
It's at the Queen Elizabeth Hall, which is slap bang in the centre of Oldham. Massive venue. Got about 67 guests-ish. Still adding to them, so they'll get more. All free all day. Lots of panels, lots of workshops, lots of good stuff.
Great stuff. And you can find the podcast on Facebook at Secret Balls, on Twitter at Dan_Balls. The podcast will be available on Podbean, iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, YouTube, and many, many more. Thanks again, Dan. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.